Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 72 of the Titanforge podcast. My name is Dratnos, and this week we have a special guest, Meeres of Echo, the premier European rating guild in the world. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining our show. So this week we're going to talk with you about leveling up to 60 in a competitive and fast way. And also race to world first stuff, because of course that's what's on everybody's minds, as that's less than a month away now. But first, we all are coming off of Keystone Masters, and everybody here except for Tettles had something to do during Keystone Masters. Tettles was a spectator, but Meeres, you cast
I had something to do. What the hell?
Okay, so Tettles, how were you involved with Keystone Masters this time around?
I was doing homework while watching it.
All right. How did your homework go?
Homework, yeah.
It went well. Thanks.
So I guess let's start with Trell, because Trell, you actually competed in this thing. How did the tournament go for you?
It went pretty well. We had we played some fun classes. One of us decided to switch to a meta class, which I think was fun for Paladin or Fire Mage, and the rest of us just played what was like doable at those key levels and fun for us. And so we had a triple druid comp, but it's fun to like see those dungeons in action in an MDI setting for the first time for sure.
Yeah, Meeres, was this your first time casting an event? You were casting the German version of the stream, right?
Exactly. I was casting the last two games of the German, or the last two series rather, of the German broadcast, and it was really interesting. It was my first time, apart from like randomly getting benched on the World First event and then sitting on the couch, casting an event, and it was actually really interesting to see it from another point of view from my side.
Yeah, it's been kind of hard to find WoW stuff to do for the past several months for a lot of people. I imagine that's been a little bit less true for you because you've got all this prep to do for leveling and stuff. But I don't know, for me personally, it's been nice kind of ramping back up into World of Warcraft stuff because it's been such a long pre-patch and pre-expansion time. So let's start by talking about it. Let's start by talking about what's going to happen in 8 days when the expansion launches. And the first order of business is leveling up to level 60, which are you going for the world first of that?
Yes. The plan is to go with Mike and Robin, like now and Gingy. We're going to try and go forward for 60. We did last time. I tried with Gingy and Deep Shades. We got world for 60. World for 120 it was. But only on Mike because we kind of messed up the pre-questing and Mike was a little bit cheating. But he just had more pre-quests, yeah. He just had more pre-quests because he had a newer character and we were like a little bit lazy, not leveling up another character and whatnot. So he got it first, but we achieved it. We were but really close against someone else, yeah. We actually had really good competition. And this time around, I think we also have a lot of people that are messaging us for the race that they also want to compete. Also Jimmy and Ken. They also were like, well, why wouldn't we also do it? So they're going against us as well. So it will be interesting.
Is it just Jimmy and Ken together?
Yeah, the boys. Yeah, they were like, man, why we're not doing anything? And I was like, okay, yeah. So yeah, they're also gonna let it.
So when you say pre-questing, that's like you get a full quest log of like 20 quests to turn in as soon as the expansion comes out? Okay.
Yeah,
And,
they used notably pet battle fucking turn-ins last expansion.
If it works.
That's correct, yeah. Everything, basically, the pet battle stuff, you can turn it from your quest log, which means how it was last expansion, it got completely changed from this time.
Oh, yeah.
Is that you can, like, we were turning in everything, we got 51, then all the quests became green, so they were all useless. But the pet battle quests, those are the cool boy quests, yeah. Those are scaling, so you can also turn them in on whatever level you want, yeah. So we were turning them in on the flight on the next level already. So, yeah, that was pretty decent.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's awesome stuff.
So why are you pushing for World First 60s? Just because it's something to push for?
Content, but it's for the fun definitely, because we were like Mike is doing it since Legion because he did in Legion as well. And I just joined in, and I think competing for it is really fun. Like you can do some sneaky stuff with some questing, and we actually tried a lot, and we also gave a lot of feedback for Blizzard to fix a lot of exploiting. There was a lot of exploiting going on for the leveling, and you could level to 60 in like 1 hour or less with party sync exploits and whatnot. And I think we got almost everything covered. Hopefully we didn't miss anything, but we got a lot of stuff from party sync and stuff like removed from the game and fixed because the system is just really new and very buggy, I would say. So,
yeah, could you just party sync and keep turning in the same quest over and over?
Now that actually got fixed pretty quick, but that was possible. Now it was mainly party syncing down to like level 25, like for S. Like you have people that are level 25, you get party sync down, you farm grind mobs like in an insane pull, and then you get invited by someone else, you party sync down again, and these mobs give insane XP, and you're just getting a level every 5 minutes or whatever. Or like in other parts where you had to do dungeon quests in like Burning Crusade, and you could turn them in when you party sync down and stuff.
So it's a good thing that got fixed.
Good testing, yeah.
Shit.
The system is pretty crazy, and then you like randomly, I don't know if a lot of people notice, but if you use it actually on beta, it is so bugged that sometimes when someone leaves the party and you have party sync on, you can't invite anyone else. You need to disband the group. If you just the group is gone, and I don't know. It's a very strange system, and I didn't really find any use of it besides exploits. So we will see. I mean, maybe it will find a better use in the next years. Hopefully.
What actually is the use of party sync? Is it supposed to just like track your group's quests and share them to one another? Like, what even is the point?
I'm not really like I'm pretty sure the initial idea was, for example, you're gonna quest with me, you're inviting me, but you're like 2 quests ahead, but you still wanna quest with me, so I party sync you back to my progress basically. Then you can do the quest with me, and then we can like catch up together as one group.
Yeah, or if you want to like help your friend level, but you've already done the zone, so
yeah,
you can get all the quests
do, like,
again.
the quest, yeah, and you can do the quest, and you just don't get XP anymore. For example, we were trying stuff because obviously, as I said, the dungeon quest in like Burning Crusade and stuff were bugged, and we had like people. I was on my hunter where I knew I did the quest and I could retake the quest, but it didn't give anything anymore. And other people could obviously take the quest and they could like do the quest with them, and they got XP. I got nothing basically. Yeah.
So if party sync isn't going to be useful, what caused you to decide on a group of 3 for this? What are the benefits for leveling with friends?
Normally, I would always say like leveling in a group of 2 or 3 is always really good, because you have like you can split up on quests where you need to click multiple things basically, and you're way faster in killing. And also, what is pretty important in the beginning, if you actually want to speed level, is mob tagging. If you are alone and then you run in one direction, you see 10 other people go there as well, you're like, oh, that looks pretty bad for my mob tagging. But then you like spread out, and you have the opportunity to like tag everything. And you obviously has a downside as well with the pickup quests. But the pickup quests are actually pretty okay in Shadowlands, I would say.
Yeah, because like especially early on, if you don't get out ahead of like the pack, you're going to be running into groups of like 20, 30, 40 people trying to do the same quest early on. So getting out early, ahead early is pretty important. Do you guys think about doing dungeons early on to be able to get like a little bit of a level advantage and then start questing through, or is that not really on the radar because you need to do the Covenant campaign?
Like we're not really like we thought about it, but leveling is actually it's not even a meme. Bastion is a really good zone for leveling when you get out of the RP in the beginning. It is actually really, really fast. And we just need to basically, that's why we're on a dead realm as well. We transferred on a low pop realm. I don't even know if people know, but we're a little bit hiding, so. And so yeah, that's the thing, yeah. When you're on a low pop realm or whatever, we hope that like there will probably be less people, and then we will be able to level pretty quick. And I'm pretty sure, or we will be hitting 60 before we're finishing the campaign. And I also don't even know if these characters will be of any use, because we will be 60 before we hit the campaign. I don't think we can do anything because we need to finish the campaign. So I'm probably just gonna log off that character and start my multi-box leveling for the other characters. Yeah.
Well, what are you leveling first?
Well, we're leveling like druids first. I can also talk about the topic. We're leveling druid and 1 demon hunter. And the two druids are obviously really sick in terms of like traveling fast and being a fast mount, collecting stuff while fast mounting, and then killing stuff with Starfall that gets tagged from everyone. And but that character will basically be abandoned. It's on Alliance side. It's on a dead realm. That character gone, and I just gonna multi-box level the other characters. Yeah.
That sounds about the right place for balanced druids. Yeah, yes.
Great for leveling. That's it.
All right, so
good for buying stuff off the black market auction house too. Now
that is true. That character will farm gold on that realm.
All right, so there's a couple things that you touched on there that I wanna cover. So let's start with Alliance. What's the thought process behind going Alliance?
obviously Alliance, what is super sick is Shadow Med. Like everyone knows Shadow Med. Everyone who watches MDI or any dungeon content, Shadow Med is just sick. Dropping combat with whatever you don't want is just it's just superior of any other if you wanna do for speed or like I don't know. Shadow Med is just the best, and obviously on the other side is the warm-up bonus that is like 30 or 25%. I think right now it's 25% again on EU because it's like region based. I think it's not server based. But yeah, it's like 25% or 30%. It's just baseline more than hot. So that's the main reasons going Alliance. And like one thing, if you guys ask Jimmy, Night Dive is actually 10% damage increase. Anyone can fight me here, but Night Dive looks just 10 times better than any other character you can play in the game. Yeah.
True.
Does that even work if you see yourself as a Moonkin all the time, or have you glyphed?
Well, I mean, you're using the glyph.
Okay, good.
You can look at the transmog. Yeah.
Of course. So these characters are just going to be abandoned when you hit 60, and you're going to start your actual questing then for your like Race to World First characters.
Exactly, yeah. Because maybe that character will come back if, for example, I want to play like a druid, because I'm not sure if I will be leveling all 6 tanks or if I will be level like maybe one multi-box set of 3 and then 2 and then get that character back in if like leveling is really bad without multi-boxing or without IS boxer rather. So maybe we will see, but that character will be pretty abandoned for the part until I finish at least the campaign of one of my other sets. But it will also be an experiment to see what actually happens if you don't do anything on release and you're not on the test run where you have everything unlocked. So yeah, maybe I can get some sneaky Covenant even though I didn't do anything. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be valuable to know about for sure. Okay, so you talked about multi-boxing for your actual leveling of your characters. Of course, we learned recently that multi-boxing is getting a huge nerf, right? You can't send one input to multiple clients anymore. So how's that change what your plans are going to be for multi-box leveling?
Exactly. And you pointed out right, because I got so many people already, just to clarify it, I think it's pretty important. People still whispering me that I'm getting banned when I'm multi-boxing, when I'm online on multiple accounts. But it's like different that it only got banned that you need to, like your input on multiple accounts got banned, which means that I press a 3 on my main account and every other character is also using the button that is on 3. That is like banned, but you can still have multiple accounts, yeah? So guys, you can relax. Because it was actually pretty funny. I got so many whispers. Every day I get like 2 or 3 whispers when I'm multi-boxing.
Watch out, Meeres.
Watch out, you're getting banned. Like, this is not I'm reporting you. I also had really angry people already. So yeah, but basically, go ahead.
I mean, they're not even, they weren't even directly targeting people like you who are just trying to do world quests with multiple accounts, right? They were directly targeting the people who have 15 fucking ballast druids camping outside of raid instances and try to just grief people.
No, it was the herbers. It was the herb harvesters.
Yeah, I think the herbers and the miners, they were really angry, or like they were really happy that it got fixed. Yeah, they were really angry at multi-boxers.
Yeah,
because I didn't even know about this, but apparently you can like mine or herb in a raid. And I was like, holy fuck, that's pretty crazy. And like I go to the auction house and buy my herb, so I don't really mind what they do. But yeah, like multi-box leveling will be very slow. I'm pretty sure if you can put it in percentage, IS Boxer, like for slowing down, like multi-boxing with IS Boxer was probably like only 30% slower than like single leveling a character if you actually were used to it. And we played it like for last 2 years or 3 years. I was using multi-box now, so I was actually pretty good with it. And now I'm pretty sure I lost like 80% or something. Yeah, like the characters will just be dead weight. You need to collect stuff with them. But it will probably still be worth it because like you don't need to go through the pain 6 times. You only do it 3 times, maybe a little bit longer, but it will still be fine.
Tabbing between 4 different WoW clients to mount up, like loot a body and then mount up on all 4 clients and then refollow the leader and then fly up in the air and make sure they all don't get stuck. That's like super annoying.
Yeah, that's when the looter ring comes into play. Yeah, also for leveling, looter ring definitely a must-have, and you need to learn Cataclysm engineering for it now. They nerfed them, yeah, so you can spend a lot of gold on the auction house.
All right, that'll count as your tip of the week. Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah,
that's your perfect.
What were you saying, Tuttles?
Lootering used to be like you didn't even need a profession for it. You could just fucking use it, and then they nerfed it to where you had to have engineering, and now you have to have Cataclysm engineering.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely worth doing though, and key binding.
A looter ring I can definitely recommend to everyone who's gonna level, because that will help you or like save you a lot of time, especially multi-boxing, tabbing over, just pressing the button and not finding the body as well because the camera is shifted to the left because your character did some crazy stuff on the following. It's always nice. That's basically it about the multi-box topic. Yeah, we were just gonna have a way slower leveling experience, and multi-boxing the more will not be fun. Yeah, walking with 3 accounts and then one gets stuck somewhere or gets attacked. That will be pretty bad. Yeah. And obviously we're gonna level without the war mode. Yeah, my multi-box or in general leveling experience, I will completely the new expansion Shadowlands. Besides from World First leveling, I will not have more war mode enabled. I'm not gonna fight with anyone anymore. Yeah, I don't need bonus gold or anima from my world quest. Leave me alone. Yeah, I'm gonna be alone on the phasing.
Are you leveling 6 characters?
Yeah.
All the tanks? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I will basically have a bonus druid on the other ramp, but apart from that, I will have all 6 things.
Cool. And so in the first week, you need to level up all your characters. You need to do Torghasts for everybody. Is that all you're gonna do, or is it gonna be? Are you gonna do Mythic Zeros as well?
Or NM Zeros, yeah. The days are actually pretty okay because you have the first 24 hours to level. Because the release on EU is for us, it's really good. I think for NA, it's you have a little bit like you have release insta after like 6 hours or 8 or whatever.
16.
Yeah,
16.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah, but we have 32. I think we have a long day. We have a long time until we get released from the weekly stuff or lockout rather. So first day will be only leveling, then go sleep hopefully. If it doesn't take too long, and then on Wednesday the big blast. Yeah, 6 times M0 that will take a long time. And Torghast with all the basically after you leveled up doing the Torghast layers to unlock all of the different layers, that will take a long time. And we really hope that it will be account bound basically, but we did not find any info on anyone who can give us like a tip or did it and can say, oh, it is account unlock all the layers on Torghast, because if you actually need to do 6 times 8 layers, that will be a long 2 days in Torghast.
So why is there stuff that's going to reset on that first weekly reset, do you think?
Nah, I'm pretty sure they said everything is locked. Like I am tweeted about the Ash, like Torghast being locked. M0 is also supposed to be locked. I don't know about anything special that should be locked. If they fuck up and Renown is, for example, unlocked, it doesn't really matter because you can catch up. So I'm pretty sure it will be fine. Yeah, and Blizzard did a really good job in the last expansion as well with the pre-leveling. Like the only thing they fucked up last time was that we could do islands at 5 a.m. That was not really too enjoyable, but we were doing it.
Yeah. So besides, there's not really anything you need to do in the first 2 days versus the first 9 days, right? It's
no,
anything...
you have no rush to level up, basically. It's
okay,
really...
that does sound encouraging. Yeah.
But so, do you think it's kind of weird that they it's because it's not expected that people are going to be zoning into Torghast with like heroic dungeon loot, right? Like you definitely need to do your Mythic Zeros before entering into Torghast, because layer like 6 through 8 is pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
From what I've tested, it seems pretty hard.
Like definitely. I think Jeeve tried with 130 gear on the stream for the content. And he made it to like layer 5 and 6, and then he was struggling decently, I would say. So it's definitely recommended to just do all your weekly stuff. You do the heroic dungeons, your callings, your M0s and whatnot, and then you go into Torghast at the end of the week, especially if you're only playing 1 or 2 characters. Like you should knock it out in a few hours. So that would be pretty good.
Yeah. So then we get to our second week. That's Torghast again and Mythic Zeros again, and get your legendaries. And then it's the raid, right? Raid is week 3 of this thing. So
that is correct. Yeah, it is actually pretty fast. And having the raid, or like in general having the raid pretty close. In the beginning, Ulti was the same. Your gear, you will struggle a lot. Yeah, the gear will be pretty bad. But I hope it will be fine. Yeah, I believe that the raid will be good to clear on heroic. The bosses don't really look too hard, so we hope we can also get some helpers in to trade us some gear, like always. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the world first race, we always need a lot of people who come in and loot stuff and whatnot, and maybe trade us later with a slim chance to get 1 or 2 items from them. So we hope it will be pretty easy.
What about world quests? Are you going to clear every single world quest on all 6? Do you think?
Oh, Definitely not. Yeah, how it looks right now, the world quest. I'm so happy. If people remember in BFA, we were doing full swoops on characters for the AP. Obviously, we did every single world quest for rep and AP, and that was a big pain.
Yeah,
And
that was awful.
right now, the anima system looks very good. You don't need to do a lot. You can do like 2 callings or 3 callings, I think, and you're done with your weekly renown. And then you just do like maybe some armor or weapon, maybe a conduit if it pops up. But you're not. I'm not gonna do gold or some resources. I don't even know if there are resource work quests at this point. So I'm just gonna leave all of that to the people who will do the consumables and stuff for our guild bank. They can do work quests and get rep.
True.
Yeah,
That's
because
good. I like to hear that.
there's
More
nothing
like monsters
important.
out there.
There's nothing important gated behind rep this expansion, right? Nothing big.
Well, the only thing that we found out was feasts. Actually, they are, or like the really big feasts. They are gated behind one of the Necrolord rep, like my Druxus. But it's only 2 more stats. So I need to say, like everyone who's normally raiding, the 2 stats, they won't kill you. It's not a lot of DPS, yeah.
I mean, some of the legendaries you have to grind rep for, depending on like your class or your spec, but that's basically it.
Yeah, that's basically true.
Yeah, so
but,
everybody needs to pick like one thing to do to get their one legendary they want most,
Exactly.
and like do that. But you don't need to do multiple different
it's
things.
also that most legendaries are right now from the raid, from dungeons, and from Torghast. Actually, a lot of them are from Torghast, from the layers. So I don't even know how the system will work out. Maybe we're not even gonna have the legendary that you want until the last week, because Torghast, the rotation like needs to run, and then it will pop in heroic week. So we will see how that goes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
are you? Yeah.
A
Okay.
quick side note: the poor DKs, they have their best legendaries from a world boss. So bless for them that the right world boss is up. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh god, Moonkins is from like fucking layer 3 of Torghast or something, and it's just like the discrepancy of where you get your legendaries from is so wild, because then you have some people who need like, what is it, revered rep or something too, with one of the zones, and then some people's legendary recipe comes off of like shit like Stone Legion generals, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting as we kind of get that together. But hopefully by Mythic Week, everybody has theirs, right? And even if you're a little bit slow to get yours, you can still catch up and upgrade it in time.
Like I'm pretty sure you will be able to get to a rogue week. That shouldn't be a big issue.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about the Race to World first. But before we do that, let's do our Tip of the Week segment. Meeres is we'll count the Looterang one, I think, because that's actually a really good tip as yours. Mine is...
I think that sounds good, yeah.
Yeah. Mine's going to be, if you're looking for something to do during pre-patch, I'm sure everybody knows this, but there's a 34-slot bag you can get from the pre-patch event. So you're looking for Brawn Jam, and if you go to the front page of Wowhead, you can actually find its next spawn. So if you're watching this live, for instance, in 15 minutes on the NA servers, Brawn Jam's going to go up. I'm going to miss the opportunity to get my bag because of doing this show. So that's the level of commitment that I have for you guys. But everybody else should go log in now and go get your bag, because 2 extra slots in your inventory. Who doesn't want that? There's also some random other stuff you can get from some of these other guys. There's a mount. There's the, if you don't have the blue Proto Drake, one of these drops that as well. So there you go.
I CBA logging into live, man. I don't need the bag that bad.
I only do it when
Dude.
my guildies ping everybody in our guild Discord sometimes to let us know it's about to be bag time.
Yes, they the whole fucking Discord. I'm just like, I have like a random ping, and I like scroll down, and I'm like, what the fuck is this from? And it's like Pop Tart Corn Dog, and it's dipping. It's like, at everyone,
Bag time,
right now,
bag time. Yeah,
Yep.
you're welcome.
Boy, you will appreciate the 2 bag slots when Mechagon happens again, and permanently you'll see bag is full in your characters.
Yeah, or corruption as well. Like you never know when you're going to need all your slots again.
It's true.
And as the right armor.
True.
You never know.
I think it was the worst in season 3 of BFA, where there was like all the Mechagon and Nashitar stuff in your bags, just like hanging out for the longest time.
Yeah, you had like 3 spare parts.
Like
crates.
It was the worst, because you were also like, you were a little bit, I'm not selling anything. Maybe it becomes useful. You never know. And then you're keeping everything bankers full, and you're like, oh no. Yeah, and then spare parts also not regional in the beginning, and you're like, okay. At one point, it's too much.
Yeah.
Because you had Benthic, you had Azerite, you had literally everything from Magitar and Mechagon, like spare parts and galvanic oscillators and
Well,
Yeah.
the
it was really
energized
bad.
cells and shit. Yeah, that was rough.
All right,
I
Trell.
would
What?
appreciate, like,
Okay.
oh, sorry. I would have went Vulpera in hindsight for the bonus backpack slots.
True. I should have been that too.
Dude, Vulpera's probably pretty good for leveling, right? With Make Camp. You can set up some good camp returns.
I have no idea. I placed it for raid
Yeah.
testing because the ratio was good.
Yeah.
The racial's sick, yeah.
That racial's actually really, the Nose for Trouble is really good.
Yeah, and the damage from the vial too, right? It actually does pretty good damage, I think, right now.
I'm not gonna say it, but I forgot to press it in raid testing.
Oh.
It was not on my boss.
That's all right. But yeah, we can do the tip of the week too. You want to start off, Tridus, or me?
Dude, I literally just did it. That was what I did. Mine was
Oh, that's
getting
right.
your bag.
All right, so mine is in the stress test for the leveling event that I shortly did like 2 days ago, I think is when it was. Yeah, it was on Friday. When the number of people go into the mob, you want to get ahead and tag like that first rare mob as soon as you can so that you get ahead of the group a little bit. But the second thing is don't leave the group while you're in any of those escort quests if you're leveling with friends, because one of my guildies left the group when I was in the escort and the whole escort just disappeared and I had to like run all the way back through the mod and re-pick up the quest.
Yeah, that'll like phase you. That's really bad.
Okay, the escort quests in the Maw are really, really brutal in Shadowlands. If you get like over 20 yards away from them, they just completely reset. There's like no grace period for them. So make sure that you stay
They
close.
seem pretty buggy still. I would just take it easy and just like hug the NPC.
All right, for Tettles, we
Yeah,
have a clip of the week, which is from Keystone Masters, actually. This is from Trell's Keystone Masters run. So what are we looking at here, Tettles?
We got Bear pressing the most powerful ability in the game. Thrash.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
This
Very
is a
complex
very hard-
rotation here.
Exactly. As two tank players here in the call, we can definitely say this is a very complex tank gameplay here for the 30-second time frame. Yeah, not everyone can do this. I'm just want to point it out here.
It's very challenging. What's cool about this though is it's necrotic, and I get up to 99 stacks most times in this pull. And Bear is the only tank that can really pull this off at the moment because of a couple things. Incarn, Thrash Spam gives you like 1,000,000 stacks of Iron Fur, and like I have 8 to 15 stacks that entire pull. And
So
also
you're armor
legendary. Yeah, I'm armor cap. 15 is like way more than the armor cap. But the legendary Urslak's Fury Remembered is the one I'm using in this clip as well, and it gives you a shield every time you hit with Thrash on every single mob per mob hit. So basically, it's just giving me a giant shield, and it goes through necrotic. So that's why you never see my health drop from 100% there.
yeah,
That's
that's got to get fixed because that.
Yeah, right now I don't think that's intended, but
That is definitely
strong.
gonna get fixed. And then you're out there.
Yeah.
Actually, not even the armor cap. Like you have actually really high damage reduction. It's pretty crazy. When you have so many Iron Furs.
Yeah, the Bear was looking pretty good for a lot of stuff in those dungeons. The only thing I was thinking was like Vengeance was, I don't know, Vengeance looks so insane as well.
Yeah, sadly, the damage output, the tank tuning damage output, Vengeance is just doing double of all of the other ones most of the time.
yeah,
It's
I should have
pretty
played
sad.
Vengeance in a lot of maps if I was playing for real.
I think
Yeah.
the Bear looked like there was a lot of cool stuff the Bear was doing though, and particularly like there were some
Bear was
really big
really fun.
pulls. Yeah.
I got to save some lives with some Wild Growth Swiftmans.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Between casting mechanics, that was pretty fun.
I saw you shifting out, and like when your healer went down and on the first boss in Halls of Atonement, and you were like shifting out and healing yourself on every
Yeah.
beam, and then shifting back in. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes Bear actually fun because you don't only just press Thrash, you can also do stuff like that sometimes.
And then sometimes, yeah, just smash Thrash.
Oh no, he said the threat word.
Oh god, yeah. All right, where to begin? So in that same clip, if you notice, there were 3 mobs I didn't have threat on, but I thrashed directly 5 times in a row, and I still didn't have threat on those mobs. They're chasing my poor Boomkin around. In general, it wasn't too bad, but if I missed a single mob with Thrash or Keg Smash when I was playing Brew in practice, then it was over. Like that mob was never going to be on me for the rest of the poll.
What if you weren't playing with the Hunter? Like, okay, obviously Hunter is like it would probably be the MDI. Like, if there was an MDI today, you would play 2 fucking Hunters or whatever, right? 3 Hunters.
Yeah, probably.
So you'd be able to have misdirection threat the whole entire time. But in a world where you're not playing Rogue or Hunter, is threat okay, or is it just like not?
No,
right?
it's still pretty bad, especially for stuff like that. Like if I'm not an incarn, we actually had to play around threat because if I wasn't an incarn, I was target capped to 5 mobs with swipe. So if there was ever a pull bigger than that, I could just never get the threat on like surrounding mobs coming in at varying times. You know, typically MDI pulls, that's how it goes. They just kind of arrive in the center at different times. So like swipe just does not get threat. The first room of Plaguefall has 20 slime mobs, which is far more than target cap, but you want to pull them all at once, obviously, because they're the same amount of health. And so what we literally had to do was have our hunter go turtle ahead because I didn't have incarn for that pull. And he would gather up all the slimes just to get threat for me. And then I would go in and thrash every slime at once just so I could get threat. Kind of crazy that we had to do that, but
yeah,
you know,
hopefully they buff the threat at least, if not target cap. Although obviously target cap came up a lot in that Keystone Masters tournament. I don't know. Meeres, how much were you guys talking about the target cap on the German broadcast? Because we brought it up quite a bit.
I think I was talking about a decent amount because I was always pointing out that obviously Boomkin didn't really have a target cap, but didn't have a lot of AoE in like burst AoE. You only have Starfall that is just running basically, and the Hunter had like a little bit target cap, and you could clearly see, for example, on the Spirit pull in Theater of Pain where they pulled the whole room in bolstering. I said that was a little bit spicy because target cap can actually really scuff your pull, yeah. And I was like, if the rogue and the hunter don't really hit the right targets here, and like one of the AoE caps just happen to be on the same mob like 3 times in a row, he can be super bolstered. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really tough with bolstering.
Example.
Yeah,
because those mobs will just straight up one shot people once they're bolstered enough. And
yeah,
like even though we had a marker going to the highest health target, you know, during the poll and everything, we were all focusing the highest health target constantly. It was still like not perfect just because of how target cap works.
Yeah, the problem isn't the highest health one. It's that you're gonna have the same like 4 lowest health ones because those are the 4 closest to your rogue.
Yeah,
it is pretty bad. I still don't know about the target cap. Why is it in the game? I don't see any benefit from it, sadly.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I think it makes Mythic Plus strictly less fun as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
It essentially locks out melee specs from big pulls too, because I think every melee, or not everyone, but almost every melee spec is pretty target capped compared to range specs, right?
Yeah, it's only Unholy that really escaped, and the reason is they target capped Unholy, but Unholy was already double scaling, so it's now just single scaling instead of
exactly. Yeah. I don't think they paid that much attention to the MDI. They saw like, oh, bursting moons. What is the problem here? They hit too many targets, and they didn't realize. And then they also hotfixed DK with the DMD because I think in the beginning it was not targeting the right guys with wounds, so you couldn't even burst. I think from like properly with the target cap. But now it's like smart targeting the wounds, so it's basically back to the old DK, just a little bit scuffed version.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our next topic, which is the Race to World First, which is coming up very soon. That's coming up in about a month, almost exactly a month now. And of course, Echo is the guild you're in, Meeres, and you guys are going to be competing for it again. As a team, you had most of the world firsts that were in BFA, although of course the most recent one went to Complexity Limit. So
well, that's why we recruited the world first tank. So we have at least one world first player in the guild.
Yeah. So since then, the roster has changed a little bit. You picked up Now, as you mentioned, who's a very, very high caliber tank and was the world first one last year. How has the whole process of getting ready for this world first been for you guys?
Oh, pretty stressful. Like really in the side of everyone is trying their best to find out what is actually going on. And on the side, having Echo as a new organization for us and like finding new ways, finding our sponsors. We're very lucky to get Logitech and all the other sponsors like CurseForge now and stuff on the ship basically to work with us was very good for us. Yeah, but it took a long time and like trying to get everyone under one boat again and having also to manage 30 people while preparing the whole race is very hard actually. People don't think it's a lot of work, but there's actually a lot of work going behind the scenes, especially for Roger and Scribe, who are like handling most of the things. It's pretty crazy. But for the prep wise, I don't think we ever had that much prep. So I really hope that we can deliver a really good raid race basically. And everyone is from home, so we don't have any problems with actually, we will have probably more problems with internet connection, but we will have less problems with people being like having stress while traveling or whatever.
Yeah, because of course, last time you all went to the same place to play, and the time before that, right? So this one is going to be the first one where you're all working from home, like almost everybody is these days. How did you feel about the raid? So we've done quite a bit of raid testing for Castle Nathria. We've tested every single boss on Mythic except for the last boss. How have you felt about the fights so far, and do you think there's anything that'll really impact the World First race from the testing?
I don't really think the World First race will only be impacted really by Sludgefest, I would say. If the boss is actually really hard tuned, it could provide a wall for limit where we can like see that it's really hard or really easy, and we can hopefully catch up on the upcoming day and whatnot, because we still don't have a global release, sadly. But yeah, it's kind of sad that we need to catch up after them. But that's where we also hope there's a wall so we kind of get on equal standing again. So it will be a good race as well, and will not be like us trying to catch up a 16-hour deficit, what is obviously on an early raid tier, but the bosses are generally not that hard tuned, is pretty bad.
Yeah, so
I think it's also in Limit's favor, to be honest. I think they also want to have a proper race and not be like, yo, we just smashed through all the bosses and we couldn't even catch up. Like we were, for example, having the same boss pull amount or whatever, but we didn't even manage. It's pretty sad sometimes.
Yeah, so because it's the first raid of the expansion, the evidence has been that in the past, in particular, there was stuff like Emerald Nightmare that was really, really, really easy. I think Uldir wasn't that easy though. Uldir was a 2 reset raid.
I actually need to I think actually Uldir was really easy. Our prep was just really bad. From both top guilds, the prep was really bad. We kind of had all of our eggs in one basket. We were like, boys, mage is gonna solo every orb, and then we had 5 mages prepared. We're going in. I click on the orb. I remember it was the worst. It was my first raid tier, raiding world first, and it was the worst raid tier I've had. Yeah. From the experience, I click on the orb. I'm like, scrap. I'm pacified. I can't do anything. And I'm like, okay. All the mages out. Yeah. All the mages out. That was pretty.
Get the warlocks in.
Yeah, get the warlocks in, and then you get the warlocks from the bench that have like the green questing gear or the M0 gear on the back, and they're like, that's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
And like if we would have had prepared way more, I think, and had done way more splits and whatnot, and played more characters or whatever, just be way more like playing the game way more. It's kind of sounds sad, but yeah, if we would have prepared more, I think the tier would have died in 5 days probably.
I mean,
yeah,
dude, obviously that was Limit's first time ever going for World First. They made a major misstep by extending their lockout.
Yeah, that was pretty.
So they didn't get World First in a tier that they absolutely should have gotten World First, like as a guild that is like for the first time doing it. And so if that happens again, where it's like first reset is super important, then Complexity Limit's going to be heavily favored.
I think that if it's a 6 or 7 day tier, it's not a huge deal. I don't think the 16 hours matters too much if it dies on Monday, right? I think it's more if it dies on Tuesday, then they have an extra reset, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Or if it dies on the very first Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then obviously like they've had 3 times as much time or whatever. If it and that there's no hope. If it dies, if it's a 3-day tier, there's no hope for anybody outside of NA.
Has anybody ever mentioned to you guys why they won't do a global raid release? Because obviously, like, they're doing a global expansion launch, right? Like, there's literally the whole entire expansion is coming out on the same day for all regions. Do you know why they aren't doing a global raid release?
I actually, to my knowledge, I don't think we got any like direct answer to why exactly. We only got told, well, basically, I think everyone got told from the interview that they're not planning on having a global release. But we never got like a concrete answer. We can only like speculate, I would say, for example, for patches, for bug fixes, for like maybe because they are not, or like the times where they patch and stuff are also really depending on their time zone, obviously, because they have normal work hours and they're not gonna patch for or like fix a boss for us when it's like in the morning for us and it's 8 or 7 a.m. from them. They're not gonna wake up and be like, yo, let's fix the boss real quick, yeah. So. But I don't think there was any direct thing, for example, that they said the patch or like the bug fixes or whatever. We didn't really get anything. What I can really see as a big argument, but we were actually speaking about it on stream and in TeamSpeak as well and stuff, is probably that the raid would release at our evening time, I think, and then NA morning time. So if it would be NA morning time, it would be for us like 5-6 p.m. or whatever, and then people would be like, yeah, well, but then I wanna instantly raid, and then you need to evening raid, and you can't wake up and raid in the morning. But I don't really think that would make any difference apart from the weekly reset, because I think maybe they were thinking about the weekly reset. Then EU would have a longer raid tier, or like a longer first week if they would shift it to Wednesday, and then we have some strange things going on. I don't really know. They would need to make a special rule, I would say, for Race to World First to fix it for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it part of it too that I don't love. I mean, the 16-hour disadvantage has like always been a problem, but it's not like the biggest issue. The Asian guilds have like 36-hour disadvantage.
Yeah,
they are
that's
actually,
true.
and like we saw how well they did with shit like Mythic Plus pushing this like most recent season, and they've done pretty well in the MDIs in the past. Not this most recent one, but like MDIs in the past, they've been fairly good at. Like the fact that they can't really compete because they have a 36-hour disadvantage is, I feel like, pretty disheartening. Unfortunate for them.
It is also really bad, and I also think people think that the Chinese or like all of these guilds are a little bit bad because they see them so behind in the ranking. But I think they're actually pretty good players. I play with a lot of them on beta, and the players are really passionate and whatnot. But from what I've heard, is apparently that the players are really bad in terms of like team communication and not flaming each other while playing. So maybe if they fix it and they actually become a really good team and work together, I'm pretty sure they can easily get way better in the world ranking if we would get a maybe more shifted raid release for them as well.
So how does that differentiate from EU again? Don't you guys flame the fuck out of each other as well?
No, I think for us, yeah, we have the banter flame. We're like a little bit, yeah, bro, you shouldn't shit, yeah, whatever. Like you're just bad, basically, in that way. But like a really, really bad team communication, yeah, where they actually mean it at the other guy. Yeah, we're a little bit, obviously, we all know each other for so long, so it's like mainly banter, I would say, and we like, I don't know. I'm also, sometimes it comes over that I'm a little bit angry at people when I play in Plus with them, because I'm like, bro, that was pretty troll or whatever. Like, I'm just a little bit memeing them, but obviously I don't mean it the bad way. Yes.
Yeah, I don't mean it like
I don't
the
really,
worst player.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's bad. It was just a really bad play, and then I'm like, bro, yeah, because I'm like, we're really used to just pointing out mistakes and whatnot to improve on each other and stuff. And I think it's pretty important.
I think so too. I think the EU mindset, like the state of mind where you just always tell each other how to do something better. If it's something that is constructive and they always listen, even if someone's offended, they seem to get over it most of the times in EU groups I see. But that's like not a thing in most NA groups. Like if someone like directly tells someone they're doing something wrong, someone's probably going to be offended most of the time.
I think it depends on your relationship with that person and how they come across. For strictly speaking, for NA people, you could tell somebody, yo, this is wrong, you should be doing it this way. But if you start like being like, this is stupid, like once you start like questioning their judgment on why they did something, then it's just like all fucking over.
I don't know, man. I think there's often places where it's pretty hard to communicate to people. Like you have to think about how to do it diplomatically a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you're like, man, this was really bad from the guy, but like I know I don't really want to like say anything now. How should I word it? And then you're like in the random plus groups, I think for my weekly use, I'm like, bro, like how do I word it now here? Like maybe you should try my code him next time on the boss or whatever. And then he's like, hopefully he's not taking it too serious. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
You try to hit him with the gentle. Maybe you should do this slightly differently next time.
That was a really good idea when you interrupted that one cast. Maybe you should do that for some more of them.
There's a spicy one already. Yeah?
All right, so back to World First stuff. We saw last time Complexity Limit had their person outside the raid doing the raid leading. Do you guys have any public plans to be doing that in Castle Nathria?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and if not, I'm gonna leak it. But Scribe is most likely gonna be out of the raid unless his class is completely broken and he loots like all the heroic bosses back to back, like he loots 10 items or whatever. I don't know. Maybe then he needs to come in. But the plan is that he's outside. He's gonna do the raid leading, and Roger will be inside the man, also doing the raid leading more or less. Yeah. So that is the idea right now.
So are you going to be doing any of the raid leading? Because I know historically you've done a lot of the strategy stuff and some of it, but
Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna do a lot. Like in raid living terms, there's not a lot to do. Not even for Roger, because Scribe will hopefully do everything outside and prepare everything. And the only thing we're gonna do is like I'm gonna point out like I'm gonna put markers or whatever. Like for example, I got really used to. What I need to say was really cool is I got really good with raid marker keybinds. And you're just gonna point out for your meelees or whatever as a tank, yo, bro, I'm gonna put a raid marker here. We're gonna move there in 5 seconds, and I'm just gonna do that and say it in voice or whatever. So I'm like mainly the boy for just doing like internal like tanking related stuff, I would say, but it will not be a lot.
The other things that they were doing that nobody had done before really was having like, well, maybe people had done this, but not in this scale, was having people outside of the raid doing bigwigs or DBM work for them, and strategy outside of the raid, all that stuff. Do you guys plan on? Because I know that in the past you've had bigwigs authors be your raiders as well. And week auras updates coming from your raiders. And in that last tier, there was there was this meme obviously about the taking breaks, but often that was because
splendid break.
Often that was because you had your week auras people in the raid. So if you wanted to update a week aura, your raider would need to say, all right, I need 5 minutes to rewrite this, and so you need to take a break. Do you guys have any plans on moving some of that outside the raid as well?
Yeah, we actually heavily decreased on both departments. Increased, not decreased. Oh my god. We increased on both departments, and we have basically just wait because he's not tanking anymore. He will be a DPSer. He will most likely be in the beginning probably outside for the bosses and fix all the bigwigs timers, because that's obviously really important. And then on the other hand, we have Grim, who's with us since the announcement video, and also like before we recruited him before already. He's a really nice guy. And he's basically all of our weak auras that are like custom and handmade, specific weak auras for boss tactic or whatever. And he's not a raider. He's a programmer in a sense. So he's just gonna not do anything apart from weak auras and sitting outside of the raid and staring at someone's screen if it actually works. And on the other hand, we have like obviously people for the guild bank helping us, like giving us consumables and whatnot. That was kind of like the standard thing. And then we also increased our roster in general to just have more opportunities for people to swap in and out in terms of if a class is really OP, especially in the first tier, that can be really nice when you have, as we saw on Goon, Warlock was really good. If we would have had 2 more Warlock players, would have been really nice. Yeah. So that is something we did as well.
So do you expect less breaks this time as a whole?
Oh, for sure. I think like Vigara wise, we don't need any breaks because I'm already finished with all my Vigaras that I make for Echo, and people are just gonna I'm gonna give the Vigaras to them, and I'm just gonna have them adjust the Vigaras whatever they need. I'm pretty sure I did a very good job and how they are right now. Like we improved as well how they look and what they actually do and stuff. You guys will see it in the Heroic V then as well. Like it will not be only the bars anymore. I'm kind of moved away from it. So I think we did some really good work in general on giving people more overview on what to do. Also that everyone is using Plater nowadays, so you can have a proper Plater setup, like recolored Plater, a execute glow or whatever. There's so many possibilities with these add-ons. It's crazy.
That is actually a lot of good information. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
So you guys feeling good about your chances in this race to world first?
Well, I think we did so much, and I feel actually very good, and I really hope that the race will be like. I think my best. Or the best that could happen for us, in my opinion, would be we wake up, we see limit on Sludgefish is a little bit overtuned or whatever. We can go into raid, we clear a little bit faster than them because we saw the bosses already. So we're like, okay, we can maybe bring other setups that we plan for later bosses. We're going to bring them, we're going to clear the bosses, and then we're going to be almost at the same rate as them. And then we can have a really nice race where both kids are just, hopefully without a lot of issues and bugs on the last boss, are going to race against each other.
The closer the race, the more hype it is for, I think, literally everybody in the more.
Definitely.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But you guys don't even know. I wake up, like normally I don't sleep a lot in progress, but the day before progress, I always try to sleep a lot. And then you wake up on the, 1 hour before reset, you open the phone is basically in your eye already. And you're like, wow, progress, how is it looking?
Yeah, dude, whenever we were in Krefeld, you would walk down to eat breakfast and you were on MMO Champions scrolling through the shitpost forum.
Bro, I was like reading and was like, what happened here? And then I said a new meme or whatever. It's always the good thing, yeah? Because during progress, I always like the problems. Also, I don't sleep a lot during progress. Yeah, that's a me issue. So I always have a lot of time after the raid. I look at the recording or I watch a series or whatever, and then I sleep like 4 hours and then I go back to the raiding. So Yeah.
This time you're going to be tanking as well. Do you have any? Is that where you prefer to be? Because you were a DPSer previously, but now it's you and now tanking. Is that something you're excited about doing, or are you tanking because there's no other tanks on the roster anymore?
Oh no, I'm definitely excited to tank. I wanted to tank, and it was basically the opportunity was given before, like now even joined. Like we were speaking about it when we were basically when we lost the tier, we wanted to change a little bit of things, and then we were like, yo, I stepped up. I already said after Unat I can tank, but then we were like, man, like we don't really need to change, and maybe it's not too good for me to change for during expansion or whatever. So we kind of pushed it aside, and then after Nazov, we were like, okay, we're gonna change tanking. Maybe the idea was also like obviously the plans were a little bit different back then, so it changed a little bit. But basically the idea was that I wanted to tank, and I'm actually excited to do it. I'm not the forced into tanking role kind of guy, and hopefully I will also enjoy it.
Yeah.
You guys did have Lighty there for a brief stint, so I guess you were planning on DPSing there for a moment as well, right?
No, the idea was actually we recruited Lighty as a DPS. The plan was actually not to have him as a tank. Yeah. That might have been, I have no idea, I didn't ask him personally, that might have been actually also a thing why he went back to Limit after we imploded, because it is understandable, yeah. I need to say, he didn't really have anything to do with us. He had to go to EU as well. That's like a horrible change in my opinion from going on, like swapping regions. And he had to DPS. He said he was good with DPSing, but maybe he still prefers tanking. I didn't really talk to him that much because obviously can't play with him. So it's pretty hard, and that's why he swapped back. But he actually joined as a DPS.
Okay, fair point.
All right, so we've got a couple of Q&A questions to get to. But before we do that, we get to thank all of our supporters over on the Patreon who've put some good names in for us to read this week.
We got some good ones.
We got some wild ones here. All right, so our supporters are Paul of US Proudmore, OnlyFans XO of E-Girl Bathwater, Riley, Delete DH of E-Girl Bathwater's OnlyFan Club, Gopher, Stuck in the busy season during expansion launch, feels bad, man. Yeah, really tough actually for anybody who's got a holiday job type situation. King of Skills, Zuko, Ja, I Wish I Was Dratnos' Dino Pillow, Chromed, Trekkie, The Marsh Hare, Regulus, Never Nude, Chewy, E-Girl Bathwater, aka Elegant Girl in Real Life, bestowing audience teenagers heartily with aqueous thrill, excitement, and rejoice.
What an acronym.
That is completely wild. Lufer, Ursoc Reborn, Ziv XX.
Cursed.
Yeah, that is entirely cursed. Van Heelen, banned from E-Girl Bathwater stream. Sen of US Kill Jaden. Daz Boot, better maids lead than Tal. Brought to you by Dratnos the Excel Wizard, Brad Ceratops, Gino the Boomer, Necris. Will Blizzard care about balance, class identity, and agency? Shadow Priests can pump if you chain pull, just give them a chance. Nevuk, Sinmora, Eevee, Frosty K New Meta, Stevenson, an unnamed benefactor, Take Light of the Protector and Frenzied Regen off the GCD, Woe Bonesy No Verse, No Trick, I Scheduled a Tettle's Flame, Sirmaticus, aka Grumpy Druid of E-Girl Bathwater. Thanks Trell for getting Bear nerfed, Diemat, Syncope, EGB Tragic, I think I know what EGB stands for. Feral Druid is just a hunter pet with independence. Heltari, Supra, Hanny is going to pump in Shadowlands. Nyx is looking for things to do until Shadowlands. Xylic, my brother needs to play more and stop being a noob. Flick from Ascendance, Gallic, Brusif, Chewy, Dratnos Roots Abyss, Vesuvius of E-Girl Bathwater, and Tuna Bomber. Thanks all for the support. It looks like
Meeres, I promise they're not normally like this.
They are normally like this, dude. They go in their channel and they coordinate their names every week.
Oh my god, it was actually pretty good. But the Bathwater theme is actually it's going pretty strong. I need to say, it was a good meme.
Have you seen? Have you seen the Tettles Bathwater picture? I'm sure you have.
Man, I think everyone in the war scene saw it pretty much. At this point, it cannot be unseen anymore. The thing is also, I saw it like 1 year ago, I feel like. Yeah, and every time you talk about it, I just get the picture. You can't forget it, yeah? It's the worst.
Crystal clear. Yeah, you can't remove that one from your memory, unfortunately.
In my experience, every time I can stop thinking about it, somebody retweets it or something again, and I see it on my Twitter again.
It's not me.
It's not Tuttles.
I don't even bring it back up.
I think it's Tettles on the second and third account, just retweeting him.
100%.
There are some things that are left better is Relics of History that could go away quietly, and I think that would be one of them.
Tettles, if you could go back in time, would you not do it? Please.
Absolutely not. I'd still tweet that shit, but it was good for clout. It was bad for other reasons.
Has your mom seen it?
Yes.
Well, that's fine. I think that's actually the. That's fine.
Let's move on.
That's not the issue.
Let's move on as rapidly as possible to our Q&A segment. First one comes from Ezilot on Discord, who asks, how much do you think raid testing on beta affects the race to world first? It would seem that in order to get every possible advantage, you have to put a considerable amount of time into learning the fights that are available on beta before they come out on live, so you can get as fast as possible to the ones that are not testable. Doesn't this mean that the testable fights are not progress fights anymore, since you already have your strat planned out and battle tested? So Meeres, how do you respond to that?
It's half right and half wrong, I would say, because it is like raid testing is really, really important for us, especially doing the boss at least once in Mythic. Like it doesn't need to be more times, basically. Just seeing the boss once, seeing how the mechanics work out and how you can build a strat around it is like really crucial, especially for, we spoke about it earlier, Vigara, tactic, big wigs, like doing everything in advance kinda and trying the possible best. I'm trying my best with my Vigaras to make them as useful as possible when the raid actually comes out. I don't know how useful they are and what's gonna change, but it has a big effect on how we're gonna try the bosses. We're looking at videos a lot. Like I'm personally looking at videos. When we're speaking off stream earlier, I looked at my recording and was like, man, my UI doesn't really fit this fight, and maybe also the next fight that's coming up. So I'm maybe gonna change a little bit and adjust. So the raid testing in that way is actually really, really good. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure you said that like the tactic, we go into the boss and play the tactic. That is actually the other way around. Yeah. We go into boss, I have a baseline idea from looking at the dungeon journal, like everyone, like we're reading, I'm like, it says here in the overview, this is this build, this is damage. So I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do. And then after the testing, you're actually going to form the proper strat and try it out in Heroic and Mythic, how it's going to tune, like how it's actually going to work out. Yeah, sometimes there were also so heavily changes, or beta, especially after we saw it, certain classes completely OP on day one testing, and we're like, whoa, we need like 10 of them. And on the other hand, like they're nerfed 8 weeks later. And then like, okay, that's shit now. But
yeah, a lot of the fights change a lot as well, right? Like it's just some random fight. Even if the mechanics stay the same, like they'll double one mob's health and they'll double an ability's damage, and it's a completely different fight.
Yeah, like most of the time that stays the same. What I can say is obviously most of the abilities stay the same. The HP tuning is most of the time always different. And the timers kind of stay in the same way. So how the bosses react to different abilities. For example, Artificer is the best example. How he's going to like have his portals down, and then he's going to spawn the ghost or do the scythe in the later phases, and etc. So this stays kind of the same. And that's when you get the idea how you make a tactic around the boss fight. And then you hope, or like we try really hard, and we have a lot of different ideas about every boss. Sadly, I cannot go into detail, but we had a lot of ideas about the last bosses especially. And we will try to find out what will be the best when the boss actually comes out, like when we can actually play.
He says that he can't go into detail. However, what he means is we're having a lot of warlocks prepared to make sure that we have enough gateways to be able to cheese as many mechanics as possible.
I mean, that's not wrong.
That would be true for every single boss at the end of a raid boss in BFA. Every single one in BFA. That was their strat.
I need to say, like, if you are the only warlock in your guild and you're watching this or listening to it, then you're very lucky, because you will be in.
Goodness. Okay, so I see this take a lot, what Dratnos just read, and I also see people complaining about having weak auras play the game for you as well. Do you feel like the mechanics are way more complicated than, like, because there have been some mechanics that have been completely negated by weak auras? But right now, do you think the state of the game relative to how powerful weak auras are is okay?
That's a really hard question, yeah. And it's also how should I say it? I think it's right in a lot of ways, yeah. Vigaras are really, really helpful and can actually play the game for you sometimes. But it's also sometimes a little bit overloaded from Blizzard's side, in my opinion. Having, for example, Ashara was one of the prime examples where like Vigorous were actually carrying you really hard. Like having proper Vigorous set up with like maybe an audio cue or just seeing on your screen what is actually going on the boss fight, having your stacks reset, soaking your stacks, having a reminder for when you need to soak the stacks and stuff. Obviously, someone could physically call it by while also playing the boss to the 100% of damage output, because we were also wiping to the boss at the same time. It is true, yeah. Vigorous are very powerful, but I think Blizzard did an okay job designing mechanics that are actually unweakerable, kind of in a way. Best example is Evoke Anguish from the last raid tier, probably. There was not really a lot that you can do with Vigorous. So the debuff, and the only thing you could do, you could go into paint, draw a circle, and have the people positioned in a proper way, but everyone still had to play the game, yeah. It was completely different from Archimon, where people were just looking at the radar and were like, oh, not getting it, nice time for me.
They also break weaker functionality with some of their API calls, like Mechatorque and stuff too, to where you're not able to completely just break shit.
Yes, that is correct. Also, one thing that they actually changed, and I don't know if I should leak, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to change it anymore, but friendly nameplates are really OP if you are good at coding, and they changed it. We were pretty sad because obviously we have a really good Vigara and coding team and whatnot, but you can do a lot with friendly nameplates. And I think it was it would have been probably in hindsight, if we would have had the talk after the raid, it would have been a really big advantage to have friendly nameplates, especially for the World First race. And I'm pretty sure it would have been for limits. I saw Relo do a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's working with limit. I'm not too sure, but that was my last info I got. And friendly nameplates, you could display everything. Yeah, you could see a debuff, a circle, a fixate, a name, what he's supposed to do next. You could anchor everything.
An icon, yeah. You could draw lines in between people.
They broke that, yeah.
It was all. So I think that was a good move from them, because otherwise, I'm pretty sure I would have stepped into the raid, and then the saying the weaker was played again for you would actually have come true on some bosses.
Yeah, I think it's tough as well, because they keep making the difficulty assume you have the weak auras, and so you need the weak auras to play now if you're trying to do the hard stuff. But then if you have all those weak auras and you lower the difficulty down to heroic, it can really, like, the good weak auras, if you have perfect weak auras and you go into heroic, they can absolutely do the entire thing for you. Because the only mythic is tuned around you having them.
Do you think the raid testers have like super sick weak auras set up? Because I think it's probably assumed that they have I would assume they have decent weak auras set up.
Oh, you mean the Blizzard raid testing team?
Yeah.
I have no
idea. Yeah.
I mean, dude, some of those encounters, I don't know how they would raid test that without like Dratnus has said, extensive lists of shit.
I would really like it. I think it would be my dream when I stop playing the game. I would love to get the opportunity to watch the raid testers and see what they actually do. Yeah, because sometimes it feels like either they do something really strange, yeah. One mechanic one-shots you or does 1 damage, and what happened here?
Or Fetid Devourer. Fetid's initial tuning was because the raid testing team was so good on it that they bumped it up by whatever percentage they normally thought they needed to bump it up, that was way too much because the team was already doing all the right stuff, basically.
No, then we got told to just do damage. That's true.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about pre-positioning next to the corpuscles so you can actually damage them quicker?
It was actually incredible how Fetid was a boss where you had to use the whole raid, everyone in the raid used all cooldowns on one set and you barely managed, and then you turn around, boss on 80% HP, next wave spawning, you're like,
I see.
All right, next question is for Trell. Out of curiosity, I don't usually tank. What covenant does Bear want to look at right now?
Yeah, I think Bear is actually a good example of a not clear choice covenant. I think each covenant kind of gives you a unique advantage. I played Kyrian and that Halls of Atonement just because of Necrotic, and I, as soon as Incarn ended, I hit my Kyrian file and I dropped all my stacks and I was healable when I was about to take damage. So that was obviously super good for that. I think outside of that, you can do Night Fae for Convoke for big off healing outside of Bear form.
You also went Necrolord, right? For a Necrolord dungeon bonus too, right?
Yeah, Necrolord Bear is what I played actually the rest of the tournament because of just the serrated shoulders damage is 8 to 10% of my overall is Bear. Plus the single target bonus from the active covenant ability for Necrolord is pretty good. But yeah, it's honestly you could play any one of those covenants. I think Venthyr is probably decent too. Especially for Boomkin, if you want to play Boomkin as well.
All right, next question is for Meeres, and I assume that you're one of the few people in the world who actually has thought about this somewhat extensively. When do we replace our Azurite when we're leveling up in Shadowlands? When does it become worth it to drop those traits
That's a good
to
question.
get the more stats?
Or in general, if you actually have like mythic raiding gear and you put sockets into them, so if you had really a lot of fun and visions, you will most likely only first of all start replacing gear at like 57, 58, so very late into the expansion.
Okay.
And Azurite gear you could only replace because the effect ends when you enter Shadowlands, so it's pretty much useless. You can probably replace it at like 50, I think it was 54, 55 when you want like offsets. But for example, the stamina and the intellect is still, I don't know. I don't really think it's worth replacing that much. But like in general, gear is replaceable at like 57, 58 in that range. If you have mythic rating gear. If you do the
what's the deal
pre-patch
with
gear, I have no idea.
What's the deal with the cloak and the dragon proc?
I think it still works on beta. I think it still works, but I'm really not sure why. Or maybe they fixed it now. I didn't play beta in the last week or since the last bit. So,
I mean,
but the cloak
I know
is good.
For a while, the cloak was going to be used through like Nathria prog because the proc was that OP. But
if the proc would have stayed, that is correct. That cloak
they would definitely nerf that on like week 2, if at the latest, if people were using it at 60.
Week 2 after Mythic is released?
No, week 2 of the expansion. If people were using it at the end of week 1 on their max level characters in Torghast, they would nerf it. Anyways,
maybe tanks keep on the Heart of Azeroth for the 1.5 times threat multiplier.
maybe that's worth it actually.
Squishy reminded us in chat.
All right. Well, that's about the end of our Q&A segment here. Thanks so much, Meeres, for coming on our show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I hope I could provide any fun and interesting information here.
Lots of good information, yeah.
Very good, yeah. And good luck with the race to World First. Good luck for your race to First 60. Are you going to be streaming either of those things?
Yes, and there will also, everyone is kind of looking forward to, we were working on it the last days as well. We were recording a lot of stuff, and there will be some really funny, hopefully, stuff coming up for the Race to World for 60. We tried to make like a mini event on our streams. Basically, we will not have like an event or whatever planned, but we will be streaming. So there will probably be some funny stuff coming up.
What is your stream?
Oh, Meeres TV, yeah.
Okay, twitch.tv/Meeres TV. Anywhere else that people should follow you? Any Twitter or anything that you use?
Yeah, also Meeres TV on Twitter. And that's about it. I don't really use anything else. The YouTube channel is for the MDI videos. So if you want to see some old school 5 million DPS annually DK, you can go there. But that's about it.
What about some Fat Shark Yes MDI gameplay? Is it on there too?
Yeah, that is. I need to say that's probably the highlight video. Having a more souls with no healer and 5 days of practice is pretty fun. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on our show. That's the end of our show. We'll be back next week with another one. Bye, everybody.